This is the Justicefighter podcast. With attorney Gerald Griggs. Where we have conversations on social justice, civil rights, and political news that affects us all. Let attorney Griggs put you on game. Only on the Justicefighter podcast, y'all.
This is attorney Griggs at Justicefighter. We're here on Justicefighter podcast. We're excited to be here at Justice Media, and we have a great guest today. I'm fired up and excited to hear from her. She is the political strategist for New Order Human Rights Organization, and I'm so excited to have her on the podcast. So introduce yourself to the people and tell us, a little bit about yourself.
Hello, everyone. My name is Maria Harris, and like Mr. Griggs stated, I'm the political strategist for New Order National Human Rights Organization, based out of Atlanta, Georgia, and hubbed in Marietta, Georgia. I'll give you a background of my duties. I assess views and agendas on a national, state, and local of our political leaders. I take that information back to the organization, to our president, who is none other than Gerald Rose. And once I give that information to him, I have given account about the information that I've given him, and we look at that information and we give it to the public. We give a positive outcome that will proliferate our communities, our businesses, our schools, our homes, and then just people as us as a whole, the people as a whole. So that's what I do.
Okay, well, that sounds like a lot that you have to do. And so I'm excited to have you on. I've been working with Gerald and New Order for a long time. They've been doing great things in the community. Yes. And so I want to kind of talk politics. So, as a national political strategist, I know you're dealing with the presidential election, right?
Absolutely.
Okay, and so just today, we saw after the Selma, 55 years of Selma we just got back from, we saw a couple of the presidential candidates drop out of the race. Pete Buttigieg has dropped out, and now Amy Klobuchar has dropped out. And so what's been your observation of this discussion on the Democratic side trying to get to a nominee?
Well, honestly, looking at Klobuchar, and I don't know how to pronounce his name.
Buttigieg.
Buttigieg.
We'll just call him Mayor. We'll call him Mayor Pete.
Yes.
Yes.
Well, let me tell you. Just looking at the presidential election and as a Democratic Party as a whole, and everybody that we have on the panel, and to be honest, I think that everybody that we have as panelists, as potential presidential candidates, I think they all play a significant role and could be wonderful, wonderful leaders of our nation, the United States of America. However, when you have someone like Donald Trump, who's already in office, you have to be very strategic in going forth and having a representative that's going to not only be Trump over himself, use his word against him, his name against him, that's going to be productive in strategic in gaining access to the White House. Once we get in, you got to be able to tear those walls down of what has already been built. He's done a lot of things, but there was a lot of good things that was there before he got there. These people dropping out of the race, if they had stayed in the race, it would have been a great divide, because they had some wonderful views and ideas. I was just looking at Klobuchar's her views and something that came to me through Occupy Democrat. It's a wonderful page that I look at on a Facebook, and she had a panel on there, and they had some wonderful ideas that they were bringing towards her, and she was answering like off the rip. She was giving it to them. They were talking about helping the communities, the Republican bill, the taxes, health care. She was talking about all of that stuff. Wonderful, wonderful things. But to have her come in to take the people that she was going to have voting for her would have split the vote. We got to narrow it down, and they knew that. And I think that's why these people dropped out.
Yeah. And so also Tom Steyer also dropped out recently. So I see what you're saying. So basically, are you saying that because there is a schism between the far left and the moderate lane of the Democratic Party, you think they're consolidating the vote by dropping out so they can make the lane a little bit smoother for the moderate centrist Democrat?
Yes, absolutely. They understand that the margin has to be narrow. They understand that. You can't have too many people. They all hear and see and experience exactly what we hear and experience. They do. And they know that, like I said, it has to be strategic how this plays out. They know that Warren and Biden, and they know that Bernie, they know that the people are backing them 100%. Bloomberg and
Tulsi Gabbard, yeah.
Yes, him and Steyer and Klobuchar. They know that they have some backing and some following, but it's not as strong as the other three. And if they can narrow it down to those three, then we have a real competition here, a real competition. I project that Biden would take it, and I need for him to take Warren along with him because she has some excellent and wonderful views that we need to experience as a people and as a nation. Bernie needs to go along with him, and he needs to find a way to bring all of them with him because they all really, really had some wonderful views through their debate. I loved and enjoyed each moment of it. It was really, really heartfelt to see them go at it, and really, really Biden even became emotional during the last debate. He wanted to get so much in, but it was so much going on, and I just really was enthused about how it all played out, and they're doing a great job.
Okay. And so do you think that the Democrats can coalesce around a candidate? I mean, Bernie is healthcare for all. It's more of a democratic socialist platform, where Biden is more centrist and reminding people that he was in office with President Obama. And of course, you know, Elizabeth Warren is in the middle of both of those positions, where she's still leans toward Medicare for all and more progressive policy. And then, of course, there's the Bloomberg centrism, which is more like Republicanism. But so, I mean, where do you see this all playing out as we get closer to Super Tuesday, which is actually tomorrow? Where do you see this playing out?
Well, actually, let me just say this. I've been kind of watching Bloomberg for about 2 weeks now. It didn't take long. He went to a church and not too long ago, maybe it was Sunday past, yesterday or whatever, and the congregation stood up and put their backs towards him.
Yeah, that was in Selma.
And so we kind of know that. Listen, I think Bloomberg came out of his he came out of his mindset of saying, hey, if Trump can do it, I can do it. See, we had this thing going on. If Obama can do it, I can do it. But they just did not know that Obama was very intelligent. His mindset was strictly for the people. They looked at it as he's a black man. He don't know nothing. He ain't got nothing. And it's going to be XYZ when he gets there. He had no way, nobody, well, Republicans anyway, because I watched Boehner every time he got up and speak, give nasty looks to him. It was horrible to sit and watch them whenever President Obama would speak. And so that I can do it too thing, but see, everybody sees Trump. He's mean. He's nasty. He's just completely unfit to be there. So Bloomberg came out of the works and said, hey, if he can be a rich man and run the country, hey, maybe I can too. But that's not it. Just because you can run a business does not mean you're fit to run a country. You have to be completely unbiased when you're running a country. And he doesn't have the capacity to do so because he's been has a lot of things going on in his company. People have labeled him to be a racist as well. If he's elected, it's going to be pretty ugly. Sort of like what we got in there, but it's going to be on a nice, nasty level. However, Warren and Biden and Bernie, they bring such a not pure but sincere mindset to it. They really want this bad and to turn this country around. We're tired. The politicians are tired, and I honestly believe there's more people tired than just the one that turned his back on Trump to vote him as to be impeached. I forgot his name that quick.
Oh,
he didn't.
What you talking about? The impeachment inquiry with all the Democratic individuals that were in the House? Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, and he didn't vote for Trump. He voted for him to be impeached.
Oh, you talking about Mitt Romney?
Mitt Romney. Yes, I'm so sorry. Mitt Romney. They're tired. People like Mitt, they're older. They know that it's time out for this rhetoric that the president is doing. It's something all the time. It's full of drama and long drawn out stuff. It's just too much. Yeah. And we have to get stability. We have to get the presidential seat and the whole idea of being the president. We have to get the integrity of being president back established. Okay. It has been completely blown out of the water, and we got to reestablish that some kind of way.
Well, so the kind of the reason why we got Donald Trump is that back in 2016, 40 million Americans took the day off and didn't vote. So I mean, coming from a national human rights organization, what do you think is going to take to motivate individuals to come out and vote? I know the 65 and up crowd are going to definitely vote, but 21 to 45, what do you think is going to take to motivate them to get out to the polls?
We got to push the ones that really believe, and the people that believe that your vote matter. We gotta push. I'm trying to rally around a movement. We got this movement, and I'm trying to push it really, really hard. I've been talking to a lot of the youth here in Spartanburg, South Carolina, where I am based, and talking to them, asking them about what is it about voting. A lot of the youth, I think it's Generation X, 25 and under, they don't believe. In between the 18 to 25, they really don't believe that their votes count. It's all systemic, it's all planned. They already got who they're going to vote in, and it's hard to get them to their train of thought and to get them to understand, yes, it matters. Your vote matters. And we got to let them know we got this. The people before us, who bled, who died, so that you can have a right to vote. I have pictures all over the internet. They're everywhere. And we got to let them know that this is where it stemmed from. This is where it started. This is why it started. And if you want to have your the issues that you're going through accounted for, you want to have your views looked at, if you want to have this stuff stopped in your communities raised and awareness all over the place, you got to get out and vote. And they don't understand that your vote counts. They don't understand that, the issues and things. I even heard them this time. I just voted on Saturday for primary, and I talked to a couple of them, and they was like, I'll just wait until November comes, then I'll vote. And I said, do you not understand that each time there is a voting opportunity that you need to make that count? And I don't understand where it comes from. 2 times a year you vote for the every 4 years, twice, primary and then the general election. Every 2 years you need to vote for the Senate and for the Congress and different things like that. And it's a young man. He's a rap artist, and I don't know his name, and I put him on my page.
Yellow Pain.
And to get out there. And he was talking about...
His name is Yellow Pain.
Yes. And he was talking about the different levels of government, what makes sense, and different things like that. Wonderful. And it's a way to get them out there. So we got to try. We got to push. We got to let them know that where it came from, where it stemmed from, why we got to vote, and why it matters.
Yeah.
I'm telling you now, a lot of them hear the Trump thing, and they're very angry by a lot of stuff he's done. He made it easy for Generation X whenever he started to downgrade Colin Kaepernick. He made it easy whenever he started to for them to vote against him, when he started to play around with disabled people and mimic and mock those people. So he did it to himself, but I thank him for it, because he just let people know who he was. In general, all over who he is. He is something very, very wrong with that person, and we have to push him way out and get somebody sensible in the White House that's going to allow us as a democratic people to rise up and do what we need to do for one another.
So do you think there's a candidate out there that's spoken to that? Because, I mean, I do understand the need to vote to be anti-Donald Trump, but don't you think that there has to be a platform out there that's pro something so that would motivate folks to vote?
Honestly, I think that the 3 that is left, except for Bloomberg, I have my issues with him. Bernie and Biden and Warren, I think any of them will make a wonderful president. However, I'm leaning more towards Biden, and because Biden has been there. He's been in the White House, and that's just me, and I heard you say it before. He's been there. He was with President Obama, a great leader. He knows stamina. He knows discretion. He has temperance. He knows those things. He knows what it's going to take when you're talking to leaders of other nations. He knows what it's going to take. He saw the things that Obama went through. He saw the walls that Obama had to tear down. Obama went to places, and people, they showed it on TV. They wouldn't even shake his hand when he came through. So he was a part of that. He got the Nobel Peace Peace Award from President Obama, he knows what it's going to take. Warren, her policies are wonderful as well, and so is Bernie. But we got to have somebody that's going to know what it's going to take to not only triumph over President Trump, but that's going to lead our people once again to the victory of us as a people. Not just black people, everybody as a nation. We've got to push that.
Mm-hmm. And so I guess, you know, kind of following up on that previous question, you know, it was a lot of people that were energized by, you know, Obama in both elections. But do you feel, I mean, coming right after the South Carolina primary, do you feel that level of energy on the ground in South Carolina for change? Do you feel that?
When it's now Biden won South Carolina, and he did an excellent job. He won it. I said he became very frustrated because he couldn't get everything he wanted out, and I understood that. He won that. I really honestly feel that we don't have the same energy that we have when when it was Obama, it was more of the energy of he's a black man. He is smart and intelligent. He has something to offer. He has a beautiful family. He has an intelligent wife. And like some of the people said before, when the first 4 years that he was in office, we just want to see what he's going to do. Once he got in there and they saw that what he brought to the table, and it was a high level of respect, and he was very unbiased in his leading and the things that he said, and he was for everybody. Then everybody was willing to vote for him again. Now, I haven't heard anything like that about this. I think more people are on the ticket with Biden because of Obama, but a lot of people are rooting for Bernie as well. He has a higher reputation than Warren does, but she is on fire. She is really on fire for this. I would love to see Biden become our president and bring Warren along with him. Bernie has some, I don't know if it's eccentric views, especially about medical marijuana. And it's just a lot of things. He said once he get in, he's going to legalize marijuana as soon as he get in there. I think he needs to take a step back and just kind of chill for a minute, especially when it comes down to that. And just wait a minute. But it has to be more than just legalizing marijuana. It has to be other things. But that seems to be, I guess, what he feels that the black community wants. You know, everybody wants to get the black vote. They know that there are millions of black voters out there. They know that. And if they can get the black vote, they know that they have an opportunity. They know that.
Well, let's drill down on that. I'm sorry? Let's drill down on that issue of getting the black vote out. So we were in Selma yesterday, and for the 55th anniversary of Bloody Sunday, which of course was the march from Selma to Montgomery that was unsuccessful when the Alabama State Patrol beat the peaceful protesters. And so thousands of African Americans were there from all over the South. Most of the presidential candidates were there except for Bernie Sanders. And so I guess my question is, if Bernie Sanders is going to motivate young African Americans, middle-aged African Americans, and older African Americans to vote for him, why do you think he decided not to come to Selma?
To be honest, looking at his views, I don't see why he wasn't there. The different things and the different topics that he has said, hopefully there was something going on with his family that he had to attend to, just, you know, on the humanistic side of it all. But according to what I have been reading about Bernie, according to the things that I've seen in judging his character, I really don't know why he wasn't there. And does it speak volumes for him? Only until he speaks up about it. Only until he says, this is the reason why I wasn't there. This is the reason why I didn't show up. But only until then, and then you can say, that's not a good enough. That's not a good enough answer. But Bernie has been on the ticket to on the Black American ticket to really restore a lot of faith back into the judicial system and into the political standpoint as leadership is concerned. And he wants it bad. And he said that he wants it bad. But hey, him not showing up yesterday, that's really going to speak volumes for him. And a lot of people are going to question that. But honestly, to be honest, I would have thought he would have showed up.
Yeah.
And so with him not showing up, it's going to speak volumes. And until he says why, then why he didn't come. No telling us why he didn't come. But until he speaks on it, then we'll never know why. But yes, it is going to make a difference to a lot of people.
Yeah, because all of the presidents of the Greek organizations were there. The NAACP's president was there.
Oh, wow.
Al Sharpton was there. Jesse Jackson was there. John Lewis was there. Thousands upon thousands of African Americans who vote were there. And so far, there's been silence from Bernie Sanders' camp, except for saying that he protested in the civil rights movement in the 60s. And I mean, I respect that fact, but here's a commemoration of the 55th anniversary of the bloodiest day of the civil rights movement and the reason for the Voting Rights Act, and you weren't there. So there's some definite questions that need to be answered. But
Absolutely.
As black people, don't you think we need to be a little bit more upfront and honest about what we demand in the next presidential candidate from the Democratic Party? Don't you think we should demand that you come to our events and you speak directly to the base?
Absolutely. But who do we have to speak up for us?
It's a good question.
We've got to. Yeah, we've got to. We've got to put that. But then too, who do we have to speak up for us as a people? I mean, it seems to me now. One thing we as a black people got to do, we've got to become a little bit more congealed with the things that we're demanding. It can't be this east side, west side, north side, south side type of thing that we want. We got to come together as a people. Now I'm gonna tell you, Strayer,
Tom Steyer,
he hit a lot of things on the head, speaking about reforms and recompense and reconsolidations and different things like that for the black community. And really and truly, I was interested to figure out what did he mean and how far was he willing to go with that, because that is a conversation that needs to be had. What are we as a people looking for as a recompense for us? It's definitely not 40 acres and a mule now. So what are we looking for? Let me see. Let me pull it up here.
So basically, you're talking about his platform for reparations, Tom Steyer.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yes, most definitely. And what is that going to look like? I'm very interested to know what is that going to look like for us as a people. First of all, we as a people got to come up with what are we looking for? What is it that we need to happen? What is it that we want to happen for us as a people? And so not only is us as a people, as a black race, because really we are the race that has been stomped on and the most, but we got Native Americans that went through the same exact thing. They were the first people that were bruised and oppressed and beaten and killed off. So we got to figure out us as a people. We do that, but we're not the only ones. So how do we make this happen? So that's a needed conversation that we need to have.
Okay.
How do we get this to happen? How do we make this happen? How do we get this to happen? So exactly what are we looking for as a people? How do we get it? How do we make it happen for us? And I think on all of the debates, Drea was the only one that was really, really hitting things on the nail. Like, okay, how do we do this reform? How do we go back and do this recompense for us? And where do we go? And a lot of people was cheering for that, but when it comes down to it, what else did he have? And I think that's another issue. If that's all you got for us, and is a recompense, then where else are you going?
Mm-hmm.
So okay, it's sort of like, okay, you're gonna point out the white elephant in the room, but however, it's wash your back, you wash my back, I wash yours. I do this for the black people. Okay, black people, what are you gonna do for us? Type thing. I just think.
Well, I mean, I don't know if it was quite like that, but I think that what he was trying to say is you can't really have a black agenda without talking about the elephant that's in the room, and that's reparations.
Absolutely.
But a lot of the candidates have skirted around that issue. I know Bernie has said we're not even going to address that issue, and Biden has talked about what he did with President Obama. So I think that we need to keep that issue squarely on the table, because the Native Americans, they got their reservations and they do have their own government, and there's other entities, the Japanese Americans who were interned, they got reparations, and the Jewish Americans who were a part of the Holocaust, they also got reparations, and so did the slave owners got reparations right after the Civil War. So I think that it's a definite needed conversation. But in the last few minutes of the podcast, we gotta wrap it up. What is New Order? What is New Order doing to push forward to get African Americans out to vote and to protect their human rights?
As the political strategist who I am, like I said, we're going to push this. We got this movement to our youth. That's where we have to start. We have to let them know that we are coming out the gate running with our just hard, and we cannot let up. New Order is 100% taking on that role to make sure that we push youth, we push this middle generation that I'm a part of, and as well as the 65 and above. We're pushing this, and we got to let our people know we got this. We got to vote. Why do we have to vote? How do we vote? What does that look like? And to push it out there. The only thing we have is word of mouth. We can talk about this all day, but we got to hit the hedges and hit the highways, and we're pushing it through social media. We're pushing it through this podcast as well. Pushing it through our website and different things, and we're pushing it and letting people know, hey, even if you need a better understanding, a clear understanding of what voting is all about, we can help. So that's what we're doing. I'm going to be doing a lot more web things on. I'm trying to get some things out through the website and through the Facebook page to inform people, let people know exactly what we need to do, not to persuade them of who to vote for, but to let them know that it is your right. And with it being your right, go exercise your right. And do it with joy, and do it with the understanding of who you are as a people, and that you are an American. Above all, you are an American. You are African American, and the people before you have fought very hard. They bled and died to make sure that you have this right and to go do it.
Okay. Well, I appreciate you. And how can people get in touch with New Order Human Rights Organization and make sure they're a part of this movement? Okay.
New Order, we have an 800 number. It's 1-800-346-5138. Call us directly. Like I said, we are hubbed out of Marietta, Georgia. If you'd like to send us a letter to let us know what you think, have some questions or whatever, you can drop us something in the mail, P.O. Box 1821, Marietta, Georgia 30061, or you can always email us at info@neworder.org. at nonhro.org. And that is our direct email address.
Thank you for that. Are there any parting thoughts you want to leave the people with as we get ready to close out?
Well, first of all, I want to thank you, Mr. Griggs, for allowing me to come in and be a part of your podcast. And secondly, I would like to tell everybody that please go out and vote. It is your absolute right to get your views looked at and make sure that you exercise your right. It's a privilege as well. Get out there, vote, make it count. We got this. 100%, we got it.
Well, I really appreciate you coming in to Justicefighter podcast, and we really appreciate you, and we will definitely have you on again. Tell Mr. Rose that I really appreciate you coming on.
No problem at all, and thanks again.
Thank you. And so again, this is the Justicefighter podcast with Attorney Gerald Griggs, the Justicefighter. You just had the political strategist for New Order Human Rights Organization on the pod. She dropped some gems of information on the reason why we have to vote. There's some important dates coming up. If you're watching this in Georgia, we have the presidential primary. Early voting started today, goes all the way until the voting day, which is March the 24th. We have Super Tuesday, which is tomorrow. So many of you who are watching this will either have already voted or in the process of voting in 8 states, including California and Texas. So we will be very close to determining whether or not we will have a nominee before the convention. So that's big. Again, several presidential candidates have dropped out of the race. Tom Steyer has dropped out. Pete Buttigieg has dropped out. Amy Klobuchar has dropped out. And we're still waiting on Tulsi Gabbard. Yes, she's still in the race, but she's polling at about 0%. So we'll see what happens with that. But again, this is a podcast, Justicefighter podcast. We're going to bring you all the information that you need to know about this presidential election, as well as the state and local elections, as qualifying started for the November election here in Georgia, where we had our U.S. Senate candidates qualify. We had judges qualify. We had state reps and House reps qualify. So we're going to bring you this stuff step by step so you can be broke down in the process. And I want to leave you with this. Not only should we vote because our ancestors were beaten on the Edmund Pettus Bridge that I just walked across yesterday, but we're also seeing mass incarceration at a very high rate that's affecting the new generation. So if you're not going to vote because your ancestors voted, you might want to vote now because it's very close to us being right back in the situation that John Lewis and Martin Luther King and all those individuals found themselves, as the Voting Rights Act is being gutted as we speak. That means your right to vote is being taken away. And if it wasn't important, they wouldn't take it away. So this is Attorney Gerald Griggs, the Justicefighter. I will see you on the next episode of Justicefighter podcast on the Justice Media Network, brought to you by eStream and JViz Production. I want to thank them. I want to thank you for watching. And for all things justice, tune into the Justicefighter podcast. I'll see you next time.